Alrighty guys, so this is the big reveal for the Peak Performance prize pack for the OP one-off events that have been coming out, which I'm super excited about. I don't know how you guys have been doing, but I've enjoyed them so far. I think that, I don't know, I like the focus on Riker in this. I think that's kind of been the theme throughout, and I'm interested to see what you have to say about them. So today I'm going to go through the cards real quick. We're going to do them on the camera so you can read them all, because there's some really intricate rules on particularly the shuttlecraft. So I want you to have a chance to have a look at them in the video. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how I think this pack does in relation to the actual episode. So, yeah, stay tuned, and that'll be right after the intro. Okay, so let's start by talking about the shuttlecraft. It's novel, and it's tiny and weak, and in an era of all the really powerful builds, it's kind of brutal, but I can see it being interesting, particularly for sanctioned play, if you need to build like a super big, powerful ship, and you want something that counts as a ship, to hit, say, your minimum 3, and you want something really low cost. So maybe that's the niche this, shuttlecraft fills. In terms of regular play, though, I'm not a fan, mostly because, okay, it's got really, it's got nice maneuverability. I mean, like, it's got turnarounds 1 and 2 that are white, which are pretty awesome, but given that it's a shuttlecraft, you'd expect something like that. But really, what kills it for me is how docking works and the action economy of that, and how problematic that is. I think that really does kill your action economy, but if you're just using something to fill a spot to count as your minimum number of ships for sanctioned play, this is a really interesting option. Next up, we'll talk about Captain Data, who, despite this being kind of a Riker A story, Data B story thing, got his own captain card. Again, I love the Data captain cards. I think that they're really good. They're really good in terms of points economy. This is really great action economy as well. It's a 2-point captain with an elite talent. This is not a bad deal whatsoever. So I'm a fan of Captain Data. I'm also a fan of this particular elite talent. I think that a 4-point discard, it's still rough for me, but in terms of what's available, particularly for Faction Pure stuff, if you're playing Faction Pure Fed, you do a lot of disabling, and having something where you can toss it and you take all those disable tokens off is pretty magnificent. And I think that in a pinch, it's a pretty good deal. And with the bargain you're getting for, say, a captain like Data, computer analysis is actually a pretty decent way to go. Next up, we have 2 upgrades that are specific to shuttlecrafts only, and I don't like them. I think that, they're cheap enough, and I get that, like, for example, the warp drive is interesting, so it gives you an option, provided you have a high enough captain skill, or high enough, I should say, captain skill on your shuttlecraft to go after your opponents. You can actually see what they're doing. That's interesting. And, it is also kind of Federation-y to have your super awesome captain on the shuttlecraft for the away mission, which makes 0 sense from a military command standpoint, but whatever. Starfleet is an exploration fleet. So that is interesting. I think the escape transporter as a 2-point insurance policy kind of offsets that minus 2-point upgrade cost that the named version of the shuttlecraft gets. So that's interesting, but otherwise it's not, I don't know. Maybe if you want to take a sacrificial lamb and load up a single ship with some really great upgrades, people can choose to ignore the shuttlecraft and not do it, or they can try to destroy it and know that they're upgrading that second big ship with some really interesting things. Actually, now that I'm talking about it, I'm thinking that might be a really good idea to do, but we'll see what we say. Next up, I really want to talk about this no-name captain. Because like a lot of other no-name Federation captains, they're not actually a captain. But of all the people who have been a part of the, Federation 0 Point Captain squad, this dude feels like the most deserving of them, because in the episode he was the dude who let Wesley Crusher take his science experiment. Didn't care at all. Like, his lunch shift was happening. He's like, is this gonna take a long time? I can't care too much about my job, even though you're part of a crew of an opposing side during a war game. Clearly, I totally deserve to be a 0 Point Captain, and he is. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But, finally, there's Serana Kohlrami, which I find as a character in the episode really interesting, but in terms of his rules, also particularly interesting. I find that these rules reflect his character, on the show, in that he kind of is able to duke you out, and counter move. That strategist kind of characterization is really well reflected in this character. I don't like that it's a 5-point upgrade, I have to admit, and I feel like max 4 dice is kind of brutal. You have to kind of take them on a cloak shift in order for this to be really effective. And it doesn't work. I like the character card. It doesn't work as a card, which is okay, because this is a character card for a prize ship, and who really wants a really powerful prize ship to begin with? And at last, given that Kohlrami is a master strategist, the participation prize is the Master Strategist token at 10 points. Oh my gosh, I love this upgrade. I think for like 10 points you get 6 of these, and you take an action. You can take them with, say, a captain like Picard and use this action as a free action, really stack the action economy. And it is like, oh my gosh, it's awesome. It's awesome. I cannot say enough. It is awesome. It also allows, like, I find that is really interesting. You can't use the lock-on to shoot secondary weapons, but you still get to reroll dice. That's really awesome. I don't know, I'm still a fan. I'm really a big fan of this particular token. I think that this is what you're going to see in really big upcoming sanctioned play events. I think that the folks who know how to be versatile are the ones who are going to see this and see the value in it. So, yeah, that's the pack. Alright, so we have gone through the pack. You've heard my thoughts on the cards. I don't think it's a terribly OP pack. I think there's some really interesting combinations that are available with cards in this pack to what's out there in the meta. So if you're playing really competitively, obviously there's some really interesting cards in there. But for the most part, I think the shuttlecraft is a cute novelty. I don't think it's particularly, competitive. I like having a 2-point data with an elite talent. Again, I've gone over that, so we'll leave it at that. But as this pack relates to the episode, I think that it's really weak. I think it's really weak for a couple things. The episode's really weak to begin with. It's like one of the most ham-fisted episodes, I think, in terms of having a villain that just kind of shows up, which, you have Ferengi there. They're there. Amor Shimmerman is in this episode. Clark was that, Captain-y Ferengi on that ship. So he was there. They wrote them very poorly. Again, really weak writing on the Ferengi in all of Next Gen for let's be honest. But, and then the plan to escape the Ferengi is absolutely ludicrous. It's crazy to me. Okay. So you have this supposed 2-second warp drive, which is hilarious because Geordi, the chief engineer, says, 80% of his lines consist of, we don't know if this thing will work. We don't know if this thing will work. We don't know if this thing will work. You could drink to that line in that episode if you made a drinking game. By the way, I think I'm going to. But I find it crazy. So here's your 2-second jump drive. We're gonna shoot photons at you. Might have been some interesting rule cards in there, though. Like, I kind of like the idea of maybe toying around with the notion that they'll release that ship, that derelict ship, as a wave expansion, and have some of those really cool, fun cards in there, which is, like, the only reason why I can imagine you wouldn't have that kind of fun stuff in there. Maybe even throw in a Wesley Crusher card in that pack, because holy smokes is Wesley the hero in that thing, through, you know, being a big liar, essentially, but whatevs, we'll forgive him for that. Anyways, I think that, like, the episode was just weak. It's weird to me that they picked this particular episode to showcase it. I think maybe there's a theme in the OPs, this one anyways, to kind of show off Riker as the cool, awesome, amazing officer, which, you know, he can be. He adds a Matter of Honor was a great Riker episode. This, you know, peak performance is like, from a Riker standpoint, is a good episode. There is no Riker card in this pack, though, which also kind of makes it like, you know, the B story with Data is a feature as well. But I don't necessarily think that it was a great Data story necessarily. Yeah, there's a lot of criticism I have of the episode. And I'm hoping that, you know, the game can move beyond that. My goal is to see some of these one-off OP episodes, because, you know, the OS OP, like, one-off OP events, had really great, are arguably some of the better episodes in OS, or at least the more memorable ones, the ones that are kind of associated, with kind of OS. I kind of want to see that for the next few. I think there's some really great Klingon episodes that don't include Worf in DS9, particularly the one where Jadzia goes on the Blood Oath. It's so good. It's got some really great Klingon characters. You've got a ship. I feel like if there is an OP to do it, WizKids, please make me happy. Do that as an OP. Thank you. But yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. And we'll say, let me know what you think about this card pack in the comments below. Let me know what you think of Master Strategist too. I think 10 points is pricey, obviously, but maybe there are ways to make that thing a little bit cheaper. So, let me know what you think, and let me know some of the killer combinations you could foresee people using with cards in this packet, just down in the comments. Just so you are aware, it is April, and I'm participating in Video Everyday April, VEDA. So this is the first of at least 30 episodes in a row that you'll see from me on this channel. So if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up like button, and leave me a message. Tell me what kind of videos you want to see over the next month in the doobly-doo down below. Until next time, folks, I will see you soon.